Good evening and welcome back to my channel. This is my next update on the A-10 Xwing concept fun thing. So the more I look at this picture, the more the Photoshoppedness of it comes out, and the challenges to making this thing work are becoming evident. Obviously these underwing missile pods won't happen. I'm actually going to put those hard points on the tips, as those will follow along with the A-10 or the X-Wing kind of look. But with that said, the challenge I'm running into, and this is where I'm still struggling a wee bit, so bear with me and I'll talk my way through where I'm going. So the nose actually isn't far off from what I'm looking for. Now I'm really not happy with the gun that's on the 148 scale A-10, but it is what it is. So this we'll just go ahead and seal over, and then blah blah blah, be done. The issue is this part here. The spot where the wings go and mount, and then where the cockpit goes. So I've kind of run into some issues. I ended up picking up a resin cockpit tub that I'll drop in here, which will put that right about there where I want it. But what I don't have is a hull back here to mount these in. So I have the remaining, the other piece of the A-10. So one of the thoughts I had was to kind of flip this, drop it in sort of like this, right? So I have the flat surface going back, and there I have that attached to. But as you look at this is it kind of gets wide here, and it kind of has to for the tub. It almost has to flare out there once I get the tub put in and together for the cockpit. So what I think I'm going to need to do is actually really putty the heck out of all this and almost create shoulders to mount the wings into. I think what I can do is still use these hull pieces, drop them in here, and carry it back to about here. And that'll give me my side panels that I can work with. But obviously I'm going to have to break them apart. They're not going to be able to be glued. I'm going to have to put a bridge across here, which won't necessarily be too out of pace with the A-10, with the X-Wing look. But I've been kind of fiddly struggling with how that's going to handle. The other piece I'm struggling with is the landing gear. So I do want to actually portray this landing gear down. So with this sitting and not in flight. In some ways, because I'm actually something of a fan of, because of the fact that the landing gear has to be offset. And the more I talk about it, as I talk through this right now, it seems like it would be so much easier just to do it in flight. But I like to display my aircraft in a landed pose, right? So the Halaf fighter and my Vipers and F4 are all landed, and this kind of, if I were to do this in flight, it wouldn't be synchronous with what I have. So that's one struggle here. And then there's a whole bunch of work I need to do to clean this up. I mean, you see all that stuff up in there, the painting and the cleanup, and the seams are miserable. This kit, the A-10 kit for the 148 scale, is just terrible. So it's a good base to work from, which is what'll be done. But so I have the engines put together, and they will mount easily enough to the wing. I can't really mount them to the wing until I know what angle they're at and what I have to deal with underneath, right? So I am loath to take out this flange because I may use that to lock it in place into the hull. But at some point, I'm going to have to figure out where on the wing that goes, and I'm thinking right about there. And then that should be at that angle, so that if it's at this angle, I need to be careful it doesn't bump into or cross over into where landing gear / hull will end up being. And then once I do that, it's putty it up and shape it. But this is just a matter of cutting these out from here, razor sawing that, and then putting it together. Another option would be to leave it attached to the hull, but as you can see, that would end up, it also doesn't mesh with the Xwing look. As a matter of fact, I think this is the one I'm looking for. Yeah, this is one. So we wanted to have that flow into the wing. The wing work I've done, I'm actually moderately content with. As you can tell, I took out the right here. You can see it there. The landing gear locations. I've actually puttied and filled those in, and they're now they were here. They're now done with all of the wings, so that I have that piece done. I have these sort of primed to help me find what I need to do to finish out the contouring and so forth. But I have that much done. I've also lost one pitot tube off of the one wing, and I suspect that the other one will go ahead and go because there's really no point. That's that. The cockpit. This is the cockpit. I've had to trim it down so that it will fit into the cockpit tub I have. They're being painted with earth-based uniform rather than nice bright orange for the Rebels, but I'm not a huge fan of the nice bright orange for the Rebels, so that would be the reason why. But there's more painting and detailing to do to finish the pilot, which I will then drop into the tub, finish up the tub. Then once I have the cockpit tub done, I can then fit that into the fuselage, and we can go from there. So that's kind of what we've been waiting for. That's kind of where I am. I need to do a lot of detail work to get to the gross effort. It's one of the things that drives me nuts with this kind of a project is there are some spots where you're doing big, massive, gross changes to, cutting a whole fuselage and shaping it. And then you've got to do a little detail work, like actually finishing the detailing on the cockpit and all. And to me, my mind works differently in that my mind is very easy. When I get into detail work, I want to do detail work. When I get into overarching design work, I want to do that instead. So this is a little bit of a struggle for me to do. This is why I don't do a lot of these, is because I work in that way. You have to do detail, and it's one of the things there. Other modelers are much better at than I am. So anyway, that's where I am with the A-10 Xwing model. I suspect that there may be some time between this update and the next one. I do have a couple of the projects that are floating about that may end up taking some priority, but this is going to continue to be hacked at here and there while I work my way through. So I hope this is somewhat enjoyable and you find it humorous, or at least something to chuckle at. And in the meantime, I will wish you all happy modeling and have a good day.